going to bring in this image right here. House 1920 by 1080. There we have it. Now we're going to duplicate that image. Coming down to duplicate. So we have two houses, 1920 by 1080, and we see that's the size of it over here in the properties. The bottom layer there, we're going to change the name of that from layer 1 to blurred layer. Alright, and then we're going to come up to this one and we're going to call it crop layer. Alright. So now let's go ahead and blur the blurred layer. Alright, so we're going to double click on house on that layer. We come up to video effects and we're going to come down to filters and we're going to put a dash and blur in there. Whole parent duration, add new layer. Alright, then we're going to come up here and we're just going to bring our blurred levels up. I'm not worried about being too fancy with this. We're just going to go ahead and blur that. We can't see what I'm doing with it because it's not on top, so let me put it on top. But matter of fact, no, I'll just turn the eye off on the other one. So there you go, you see that now we can see that it is blurring. Go back over here and let's add our crop. Click on house, video effects, come down to transform, come down to crop, whole parent duration, add new layer. Instead of doing my work over here in the timeline, I'm going to do it directly in the properties window. So I'm going to bring my properties window over here and I'm going to make it large enough for you to see it. Got to do something a little different every once in a while, right? So we're going to create a left to right pan using our crop tools. Alright. Well, first of all, we're going to come to the crop effects sections and we're going to change crop mode right here. We're going to change that to from crop and resize. We're going to click that drop down right there and we're going to change it to crop borders. Alright. Then we're going to come down below that where it says crop borders. We can change that left right there. We're going to change it to 0.5. I mean to 0:5. When we do that, you're going to notice that these parameters are going to change to a linear parameter. And so we're going to change this 0 to 0:5. I mean 0:50. And you see all of them changed. Okay? So now we're going to change our top one from 0, 0. We're going to change it to 25, 25. And we're going to hit enter. Alright. Then we're going to come down to the right one. And we're going to change that to 50 and 100, which that's already at 100, so we're good. And the bottom one we're going to change from 75 to 75. I mean from 100 to 75, 75. Alright, so let's make sure we got our settings right. 0, 50, 25, 25, 50, 100, and 75, 75. Alright, and we don't have to click our crop tools right now. Alright, so let's go ahead and close this box and see where our image is. Turn it back on, and it's over here. This is a replication of what we actually see. Now when I play this, it's going to move from this border to that border. You know, when you look at something, that's the way you view something. That's the way you see it. So that's a left to right pan. Alright, now if you want to do a right to left pan, let's bring our properties windows back up again. View, properties, let's change it, and we're going to do it from right to left. So what we need to do that is come back to our crop. Let me tell you what I did there. I came back into our crop layer, double clicked on house, clicked on crop, brought it back, brought the crop properties back up. On the left border, we're going to change that from 050 to 50 to 0. Zero. We're going to change that to 0. And we're going to change that to 0. We're going to click enter. Okay, and then we're going to leave our top border at 25 to 25. We're going to change our right border from 50 100 to 100 to 50. So 100 semicolon and change that to semicolon 50 and click enter. In the bottom border, we're going to leave it exactly where it is. So I'll close it, and we see that our crop moved over to the right hand border. That's a little bit over. Alright, because it wasn't centered. It was a little bit over the border because it wasn't centered. So now when I go to play this, it's going to move from the right border over to the left border. Let's play this. Alright. That's so good. Alright. We're going to do a diagonal pan now. Bring our properties window back up. We're going to click on our crop, and we're going to change our left border from 0 to 50 once again. 0 50. We're going to change our top to 0 to 50. Top 0 to 50. The right one from 100 to 50 to 50 to 100. Bottom from 50 to 100. So now when we close our properties window here, we'll see that our crop is over in the left border. So then, if I play this, it's going to move from here down here to this corner. I'm not going to do the up and down pan. I'll put all of the properties down there in the description, for all of the different pans, so you can do the same thing yourself if you choose to. You can make this pan a whole lot better if you use an ellipse, or you take an ellipse and place it over top of the crop. So let's do that right now. So let's take our ellipse. First, let's go back to scene and see where we're at here. Okay, our crop. Okay, double click on that and we take our ellipse and we put it on top of it from cursor position, because that's where we're at. Add new layer, and let's draw an ellipse over top of that. And you don't want your ellipse to be bigger than your crop, so you want to kind of size it to your crop, because if you do, you'll see it'll have flat, it'll be flat on the sides. So you want it to be the same size as your crop, or smaller, however big you want it to be, just not bigger than your crop. Alrighty, so now what we want to do is we want to change that to an inverted mask. And we also want to come to our ellipse, go to properties, and we want to come down here where it says brush. We want to make sure it's solid like it is, and we want to change it to black. And see, there we go. Now let us play this and see what we got here. See how it cuts it off there? Because right now the crop is moving, but the ellipse isn't moving. So what we need to do here is we need to move our ellipse. So let us put motion inside of our ellipse. So we need to double click our ellipse, come over here to motion right here in the objects toolbar, click on that to the end of the object, continue trajectory. Okay, come up here to a little green dot, drag it down, line the edge of that box right there. See the box when it came off the screen? Line that up with the corner right there, and we'll see that our ellipse will move down to over here across the image. And then we'll have our diagonal pan with our ellipse. As I said, it looks a whole lot better. Now, like I said, this was 1920 by 1080, and yeah, hey, go ahead and experiment, do what you got to do with it. Changing the parameters, you get different effects. If you use a different size image in a different size project, your numbers will probably change somewhat, but that's how you do it. It's really not hard to do. Wait a minute now. Did I do zoom? I don't think I did zoom for you. So let's do zoom real quick. Let's come back over here to scene, and let's change all our parameters back. Let's take that. Take the motion out of that. So, and let's take the ellipse out of that. Alright. So now, I'm going to change I'm going to put this back down here in the middle. So, we're going to change our crop parameters back to the original. We're going to change our crop parameters back to 0.50, 25, 25. Here it is, and 75, 100. There it is. And it puts it back on the side of the screen, like it originally was. We're back to where we originally was at. Now, let's go ahead and do our zoom. To make it zoom, we want to change our crop properties. So we want to come to our left border and make our left border move from 50% to 0%. So we're going to change that, and we're going to change that to 0. And then click enter. The top border we're going to change from 50 to 0 also. Right border we're going to change from 50 to 100. We're already at 50 to 100. And our bottom border we're going to change from 50 to 100. And it's already at 100, so all I got to do is hit enter for that. So now our pan is just going to zoom from the center all the way up to full size. There we go. That's beautiful also.